U.S. officials say they are in the process of releasing monkeypox vaccines from the nation's stockpile for people at high risk to the virus. The one confirmed case in the U.S. is a male patient at a hospital in Massachusetts. The CDC is tracking approximately 200 people that have been in contact with him. The agency says there are at least 4 other suspected monkeypox cases across the country. They do include one individual from New York City, one from Florida, and 2 from Utah. So joining us now is Dr. Celine Gounder. She's an editor-at-large for public health for the Kaiser Family Foundation's Kaiser Health News. She's also an infectious disease specialist and epidemiologist at both New York University School of Medicine and the Bellevue Hospital. Dr. Gounder, thank you so much for being with us. You're the perfect person to talk about this. You know, when we hear those numbers, to me, they don't sound particularly alarming, right? The one case in Massachusetts, the other 4 possible cases. But am I missing something here? Is this something that's incredibly infectious that in a month we could be seeing in multiples?
Monkeypox is nothing like COVID. What's unusual here is that we haven't really seen this level of transmission outside of West Africa and Central Africa before, seeing this level of transmission in Europe and the U.S. And what could be problematic is if you see spill back over from humans into animals, then the virus could become more entrenched, whether that's in the U.S. or Europe.
Oh, interesting. And so how are they monitoring whether that happens? Because it seems to me they are looking at human contact, but not necessarily animal to human contact.
It's a great question. And I think that's something that we do need to keep an eye on, that public health departments should be keeping track of. The typical animal host would be rodents, so like rats, mice. It also infects primates and humans.
And would you, just from a practical perspective, could a human get monkeypox if a mouse bites them or if a mouse is in their home and infects their food? Like, how close does that contact have to be to a rodent?
Yeah, theoretically, if you're in close contact with a rodent, and that's probably how much of this transmission is occurring, where people are living in lower hygiene situations, poor housing in some of these poorer countries in Africa.
Well, it's good to know because, you know, even people here in the U.S. have mice, right? So we had to deal with that for a little bit as well. So these vaccines that the U.S. is preparing, are they getting ready to distribute them or they're just holding them in a stockpile just in case? Tell us more about that.
So the way smallpox was eradicated, so smallpox and monkeypox are closely related cousins. The way smallpox was eradicated was not through mass vaccination of everybody, but what we call ring vaccination, where you identify who has monkeypox, or in the old days, smallpox, who's been in contact with them, and you vaccinate all those people who've been in contact, not the general public.
So why not just vaccinate the general public, right? Why not just say, hey, if you want a vaccine, it's available?
Well, that's a huge undertaking. And so logistically, in terms of the cost of the vaccinations, I think also we've seen a lot of hesitancy about vaccines just with the COVID vaccines over the course of the pandemic. And so that's not a light decision to take, especially if it's not necessary.
Right. Now, a CDC official did say on Monday that many of the people affected globally are men who identify as gay or bisexual, and that they think that some of the transmission occurred in sexual situations. So is this accurate? Is this something that, you know, would let people know that if they are going to engage in sort of sexual situations with people they don't know that well, which people sometimes do, they should take extra precautions?
So I think it's bad luck, frankly, that we're seeing this spread among men who have sex with men. You have to think about these as large social networks, especially men who are maybe attending raves and bathhouses, gay saunas. And so sexual activity is a form of close contact. It's not that this is a virus that is specifically spread through sexual contact, but you're going to have close contact if you're having sexual activity or dancing at a rave in very close contact together.
So it's tissue rubbing against tissue, correct? So if you hug someone with monkeypox, can you get infected?
I think that's pretty unlikely. We're talking about very close skin-to-skin contact with somebody who has some of these sores on their skin.
Okay.
Perhaps respiratory droplets, again, if you're in very close contact, kissing somebody. I think big picture, if you're sick, you probably shouldn't be having close contact with other people. And if you see somebody who's really sick, has fevers, chills, or rash, you probably don't want to have close contact with them.
And finally, if you are infected, how do you know whether you have the chickenpox or the monkeypox or it's just a virus?
There's no way to know without seeing a doctor and having that tested. But if you do have a rash on your palms and soles, there are very few other infections that can cause that. So that would definitely be a cause for concern.
All fantastic information. Dr. Celine Gounder, thank you so much. We appreciate it.